An entire classroom of kids goes missing one night, all except for one boy and his teacher. Which one do you blame? What's going on, guys? It's your BFF Snowy Oreo 663 here, right now, and for day 17 of the Scare-A-Thon, we've got a recent hit with Weapons from 2025. The film that took the world by storm with just the poster and premise, the actual film itself didn't disappoint. I saw this twice in theaters, and I was so pumped to put it in the horror lineup for this year. This one will be a little hard to fully recap as well, but I'll do my best, so just trust me. I'll start with a brief synopsis, go into my thoughts, and then dive into spoiler territory with a full summary. Ready? Let's go. Maybrook Elementary School has a bit of a problem in one of their classes. Miss Gandy heads to her 3rd grade classroom one day to find all the students mysteriously missing, all except one, a kid named Alex. The previous night, every other kid got up at exactly 2:17 in the morning and ran out into the darkness and never came back. A month later, the case still isn't solved, leaving much of the town blaming Miss Gandy despite her claiming innocence. Such a simple premise, and it's more than enough to keep everyone hooked. I do think that the pull of the mystery almost works against the film in some ways, because it does take a while before we get any kind of answer or even step towards an answer. This movie is told in 6 separate acts, all themed around one specific character, and some of them feel a bit bloated or focused in the wrong areas. But if you let yourself at least make it to the end of Act 2, it'll reward you with just enough to keep you seated until the final reveal. This movie is also unreasonably funny for what it is. While yes, it's genuinely scary, gory, and intense, I found myself laughing nearly constantly. It's got a bit of a silly edge that somehow perfectly contrasts the freaky stuff going on, and the acting is top notch. My favorite performance is the character who's a complete spoiler, but they do such a great job in making you roar in laughter while also shuddering in fear. Now we'll get a little deeper into the plot and into some spoilers. If you want to skip, head to this time. Ready? 3, 2, 1, boo! The first act is Justine, being the first name of Miss Gandy. Hers is a little bloated with not a lot of payoff, but it essentially involves her being stalked by someone unknown who paints the word witch on her car. She gets drunk and goes to a bar that night, meeting with an old fling Paul, a cop who says he and his wife are on a break. They hook up and he tells her to try to move on from the incident with her class. Justine isn't having this, going to Alex's house to attempt to talk to him, despite the principal of the school, Marcus, telling her not to do that. Alex tells her to piss off, but Justine sneaks into his backyard after seeing all the windows are blocked by newspapers. She peers in the window to see 2 figures seated motionless on the couch. She calls Marcus to make a report and sits outside of Alex's house that night in her car, falling asleep. With her out like a light, she doesn't notice a creepy woman stumbling out of the home, enter her car, and cut her hair with some scissors. I audibly screamed the first time I saw this in theaters, by the way. The next act is Archer, a father of one of the missing kids. He's more angry than anything else, personally blaming Justine. We find that he's the one who painted her car, feeling she's the culprit. He watched the doorbell footage of his son Matthew running multiple times after having a freaky nightmare that night, using it to determine the direction the kid ran. He meets with another parent of a missing kid, using their doorbell footage to map out their daughter's path as well. Using this, he's able to determine an estimate of where they went. Before that, he spots Justine at the gas station, stopping to try to interrogate her. Before getting too far, Justine spots Marcus, running at her with his arms out and a bloody face. He starts to attack her, Archer doing his best to stop him. The next act is my least favorite and the least impactful. It's Paul, the cop Justine had a fling with. We find that he's still very much with his wife, the two of them even trying to start a family together. While out on patrol, he spots a junkie named James attempting to break into a building, chasing him down and cuffing him. While searching him, he gets stabbed by a used needle, reacting by punching the kid in the face, not realizing his dash cam was recording. He lets James go as long as he promises not to report him, then meeting up at the bar with Justine. His wife finds out about the cheating incident next morning, and things get even worse when he sees James walking up to the police station, getting in his car to chase the kid down for breaking his promise. The next act is my personal favorite, being James. He's a major drug addict, spending his time trying to find unlocked cars and pawning off things he steals for literally anything he can get for it. This guy's acting is so damn hilarious, I love it so much. Anyway, he spots Alex's house seemingly abandoned based on all the newspapers left outside, and decides to break in to get some money. He slips in through the window, taking some of their DVDs before spotting 2 people on the couch, completely motionless but very much alive. He continues to loot, opening a door down to the basement and spotting all the missing kids standing down there. As he retreats back upstairs, the 2 people on the couch get up and chase him out of the building. Once James returns to the pawn shop, he sees a poster offering $50,000 for information about the missing kids, reluctantly heading to the police station to make the report. Paul chases him down all the way back to his tent, James stabbing him in the face with more needles. In order to not get arrested or maybe even killed, James tells him about the missing kids. Paul goes to Alex's house with James locked in the back seat, staying inside for hours. When Paul eventually emerges from the house, he violently opens the door and drags James inside, screaming for help. The next segment is Marcus, who follows through with the report Justine sent in. He meets with a woman who claims to be Alex's Aunt Gladys, who says that Alex's parents are very sick. She gets very defensive when she hears about the report, and that Marcus needs to speak with one of Alex's legal guardians. At home with his husband later, Aunt Gladys knocks on his door, begging for some water in a bowl. They give it to her, and she slices her hand open on a sharp branch, cuts Marcus's husband's hair, and breaks the branch. Marcus snaps, slamming his husband down on the ground and smashing his face in. Holy shit! Gladys takes the hair from Justine, wrapping it around another stick and snapping it, sending Marcus out the door. We catch up with the scene from earlier. Marcus chasing Justine out into the road before getting hit by a car, damn. Archer and Justine reconcile, looking at the map Archer drew before realizing both of the kids ran in the direction of Alex's house. The final act is Alex, the longest one by far. By the way, this video is going to be over my usual length. There's no way to shorten this recap. We start before the kids went missing. Alex learning that his mom's older sister Gladys is coming to stay with them because of her being so sick. After his parents don't pick him up from school one day, he goes home to find them sitting in a catatonic state. Aunt Gladys refusing to explain. She sends him to bed without supper when he won't play along, deciding to lecture him in the morning, with a very simple display of her power of forcing his parents to hurt themselves. Gladys tells him that he better not tell a soul that she's in the house or that his parents are resting the way they are. Alex complies, spending the next few days feeding his parents soup and helping Gladys. When he finds that Gladys is truly sick, she says she hoped being with his parents would make her better, but it's not. Alex asks if he can help, thinking that if Gladys got better, then she'd fuck off. Gladys says she needs an item from each of his classmates, to which Alex steals their name tags off their cubbies and gives them to her that night. Gladys prepares, ringing a bell outside as Alex watches all of his classmates run inside into their basement. From there, Alex plays the innocent child as asked, feeding his classmates soup just like his parents. He comes home one day to find Paul the cop and James the junkie in the home, Gladys telling him that they're leaving in the morning and to not step over the salt lines. We then cut back to Justine and Archer, who cautiously enter Alex's house. They get attacked by Paul and James, Justine shaving Paul's face with a potato peeler, holy shit, and Archer constantly throwing James down, who just won't fucking die. This got so many laughs in the theater. This was so funny. Justine gets the two down with Paul's gun, Archer heading to the basement and getting jump scared by Gladys. He becomes a puppet for her and starts to choke out Justine. Meanwhile, Alex crossed the salt line and his parents become rabid on him, chasing him through the house and banging on the door. Alex grabs a branch in Gladys's wig, using the two to create the same spell she did. Once he breaks the branch, Gladys panics, running out of the house screaming while all the kids chase after her. The scene is so fucking hilarious. They chase her through the neighborhood, finally catching her and literally tearing her to pieces. Holy fuck! The spell is broken. Archer follows the trail of destruction and finds his son, Justine heading upstairs to find Alex embracing his parents. A voiceover narration tells us that while Alex's parents never really woke up from their zombie state, some of the kids managed to start speaking again after some time had passed. I needed to go beyond my usual video limit to share everything with this movie because it's so good at putting so much in such a short time. And honestly, it never feels too much. My only complaint in this one is that it feels too little sometimes. While watching it a third time, I noticed that the only part of the story that dragged was any scene involving Paul. To me, he was such a useless character that didn't add anything to the story. And anytime he was on screen, I felt myself longing for literally any other character. Alex's actor was phenomenal for his very important role. All the kids did fantastic on that front. And speaking of the kids, I'm hoping that those who watched it get the very obvious allegory to the current topical issue involving guns and classrooms with this one. While it can sometimes be confusing, especially after the reveal of where the kids really were, I think it's still a very creative way to represent some current events while also giving some fun horror with a dark tone. And while it might not be scary in the traditional sense sometimes, mostly being jump scare based and through mostly dream sequences, I found the subtle and quiet scares lingering in my head days after, and I'm still cackling like a maniac at the climax of this film. I'm giving this one 4 out of 5 stars. Thanks so much for watching my video. As for tomorrow's movie, when your friend lets you know your new neighbor might be a vampire, it would be in your best interest to not let him inside. Bye!